What's good, everybody? AB Media 83 here. And what did I tell y'all? What have I always told y'all? The pawns always go first. The pawns always go first. For those of you who haven't heard, breaking news. Fani Willis is disqualified from the Donald Trump case in Georgia. She's disqualified from the case in Georgia. Yes, the woman that brought you this photo of Donald Trump has been disqualified from the Georgia case. Now, the Georgia case, it has not been dismissed. However, uh, Fani Willis won't be prosecuting it. Yep. Oh, shoot. No, actually, Adric, she always was a pawn. And as I've always told you, the pawns. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. But as I've always told you, the pawns always go first. And Fannie Willis in particular, I always felt that she was incompetent. Why do I say that? Okay, this is it's not really hypothetical. This is what she did. You are prosecuting a president of the United States. You're prosecuting a former leader of the world. This is the equivalent of prosecuting 100 mob bosses at one time. That's how much power a former president has. Think about it for a minute. When somebody shot at that former president, the top of the current Secret Service got fired. That's somebody with a lot of power. And your broad idea was to get your married boyfriend, who was a not a criminal prosecutor but a traffic judge, to prosecute a criminal RICO case against the former president of the United States. And you thought that was a bright idea? You really thought that was a good idea? Sound like incompetence to me. But yeah. Fani Willis has been disqualified from prosecuting that case. Now there are any now from what I've heard, she can appeal this at the Georgia Supreme Court, but considering her case allegedly happened while President-elect Donald Trump had immunity, this case probably isn't going forward. Yeah, more L's for sisterhood. The streak continues. It's going to continue. And don't be surprised if Alvin Bragg joins that streak. Don't be surprised if Letitia James joined that streak. I told y'all, the pawns always go first. But let me go on to share my screen and let's look at the news. What the news has to say about Fani Willis being disqualified.
He's got to get to Fulton County, Georgia. And here we go. A Georgia Court of Appeals has disqualified the Fulton County DA, Fani Willis, from that election interference case. It's coming down right now. The case against Trump and more than a dozen others already largely stalled, as you know. The new ruling means that it will be up to the prosecuting attorney's council in the state of Georgia to find another prosecutor to decide on the case, to take it over and make a decision as to whether or not they continue with a prosecution.
Fair use.
And former Deputy Assistant Attorney General John Yoo is here. John, does this mean that this is yet another one of the cases against Trump that could go away before he's president?
It's another example, Dana, of this lawfare campaign that was waged by Democrats.
Yep. Democrats chose to play this game. They FA'd and FO'd. Oh, well.
Boomeranging back on them and falling all around their ears. Anyone who watched this trial, remember, this is the DA who claimed that the entire Trump reelection campaign was something like an organized crime racket that was intending to deprive everyone of our civil rights to vote. But remember, we saw the dramatic testimony over the summer of how DA Fani Willis had hired her boyfriend.
Correction. Her married boyfriend. No, he was not married to Fani Willis. He was married to another woman. Fani Willis was just sleeping with him. Told y'all, the pawns always go first. AB Media 83 was right.
Essentially, to be the special counsel, overpaid him, and then had him investigate and bring charges against Donald Trump. It's a complete conflict of interest. And if you take a quick look at the Georgia Appeals Court decision here, that's what it says. There's such an appearance of impropriety, an appearance of a conflict of interest that Fani Willis should not be the prosecutor. I think this spells yet another case that's going to have to either be suspended or more likely just ended and tossed out. It's hard for me to see another Georgia district attorney wanting to take up this flawed case and try to prosecute Trump.
Yeah, that's probably why she had to go get a traffic judge to prosecute Trump. Oops, did I say that out loud?
On these theories that his reelection campaign was some kind of criminal organized crime enterprise.
John, a couple of things here. There are 14 others that face charges. I don't know what happens to them, but she can appeal to the state Supreme Court in Georgia. But given what the Supreme Court said in Washington about immunity, I mean, does the state Supreme Court even take her case in Georgia?
Now, Adric, wait a minute, was that Adric that said that? Yeah, that was Adric that said that. Now, Adric, come on, man. Why'd you have to say that?
Cooking with Kaya, cooking with Kaya, cooking with Kaya, cooking with Kaya.
But yeah, pretty much. But anyway, let's continue.
It's a good question, Bill. I think what's going to happen here, along the lines of possible appeals and so on, is it looks likely, because of that presidential immunity decision by the Supreme Court, that any kind of state prosecution of President Trump would have to be at least suspended, if not dropped. You're seeing that going on, those arguments going on right now up in New York City with the case being heard by Judge Merchan. So even if they could get past immunity, they'd still have to suspend it while President Trump was in office. But furthermore, you'd have to go back and then scrub the whole indictment, scrub everything the grand jury did, and say you've got to eliminate anything that used official actions by President Trump, any evidence that came in from White House officials, from anything the president was doing in the Oval Office. That might actually fatally handicap this prosecution and require the whole thing to be dismissed.
It's interesting, too, because she had this novel way of trying to get at him through RICO. Was that a mistake as well? In addition to her personal behavior, obviously, is what they're saying here. But in a way, it was this like novel idea of like, how can I be the one to take Trump down? That's for like politically, she wanted that reputation.
Yeah. Dana, you and I remember we're Justice Department alums. Yeah, I remember you when you were there and I was there. And we were there after the days of 9/11. And you can use this kind of statute, RICO, to try to go after real organized crime, drug cartels, mafia organizations. DA Fani Willis introduced, I think, a really dangerous theory was that we could use these powerful tools that are used for terrorists and drug cartels and apply them to political campaigns and not just.
That's the other thing I try to tell Butthurt Blue. Y'all doing this to Trump, you do realize you're opening up Pandora's box. I don't want to hear shit. If they find something to go after Obama about, y'all can't say shit. Just saying. By the way, I got 11 watching. Like, share, subscribe. Hit my Cash App. Support the show. Hit the super chat. Support the show. Are you not informed? But anyway, let's continue.
Any political campaign, but the campaign by the leading opposition candidate at that time, Donald Trump, the head of one of the two major parties in the country. I think ultimately the whole thing would have been tossed out because of violating the free speech rights of Donald Trump, the free speech rights of the Republican Party, and actually a lot of Americans who supported him. So I think in the end, this whole thing was going to come crashing down around Fani Willis's and the Democratic Party's ears. Anyway.
Well, it seemed complicated from the beginning. There is that case here.
What did I tell y'all? The pawns always go first. But that's enough for Foxes. Let's see what CNN has to say.
We begin this hour with breaking news just into CNN. The Georgia prosecutor leading the state's election interference case against President-elect Donald Trump is now disqualified. CNN's Caitlin Polance is here with more. Caitlin, what can you tell us about this? This is just coming in the last several minutes. This is a big development.
A big development, and a big development that Donald Trump has wanted for a long time. That case against him in Georgia, the criminal case where it's accusing him and several others of a racketeering conspiracy related to the 2020 election, it's already been paused. Now it's not even backburnered. This is a case that will be dead in the water because the Georgia Court of Appeals is now saying that Fani Willis, the leader of the prosecution against Donald Trump,
Thank you, Adrian.
the district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia, she should be disqualified from being able to bring that case. The Georgia Court of Appeals is saying that it's a significant appearance of impropriety caused by the conduct of a public prosecutor. That is Willis, how she behaved, how she was speaking about the case, about Trump publicly, about how she was having a relationship with the top prosecutor that was concealed in this, a man named Nathan Wade. All of that.
Yep. Oh, what? Democrats, you thought you actually thought Fani Willis being a married man was not going to come back and bite you in the ass? Did y'all really think that? Really? Anyway.
Previously, the trial level judge had looked at and said, Fani Willis can stay on this case. We're not dismissing the indictment, but the Court of Appeals is now taking another look and saying, no, the trial judge was wrong. Fani Willis should be disqualified from continuing to lead this case. It would be a long process, or it will be a long process to replace her, which is why I say this case is dead in the water now without Fani Willis, the person who was leading this case against Donald Trump in Fulton County. And just to keep tabs on how many cases there are against Donald Trump criminally, the other two in federal court, January 6th, and classified documents, those are dismissed. And then the additional case in New York City, where he was set to be sentenced, that sentencing is now not happening. So as Donald Trump enters the presidency, each of these courts that is handling a criminal case is essentially removing that issue from him to have to deal with in any period of time in the near future.
All right, Caitlin Polance. Thanks for that added perspective. Let me bring in CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig. Ellie, what can you tell us about this case down in Georgia, the Fulton County case alleging election subversion against Donald Trump and a whole cadre of other co-defendants? Caitlin Polance was saying that potentially this case is just completely dead now. Is that the case? Is it completely dead, or is it possible you could have another prosecutor come in and take it over?
Well, Jim, for all practical purposes, it's over. This case was already in deep trouble because of the conduct of the district attorney, Fani Willis, and now it's all but over. So just to remind people, this is one of the 4 criminal indictments that had been brought against Donald Trump. The allegations that Fani Willis made here and the Fulton County DA's office made here related to Donald Trump's effort to subvert the 2020 election. There are many other defendants beyond Donald Trump in this case. Now, during the pretrial process, Donald Trump and some of his co-defendants alleged that the DA, Fani Willis, had a conflict of interest. She had a relationship, which she later admitted, with Nathan Wade, a person who had been brought in from the
Yep. Nathan Wade called her Gorilla Grip. Pussy. That's a hell of a tag name. But anyway.
outside to be the lead prosecutor on this case. There were a series of televised hearings on this issue last year, during which Fani Willis and Nathan Wade both testified, yes, we had this relationship, but it didn't start until after Nathan Wade became the lead prosecutor. And then with regard to the allegation that their finances had been intermingled.
Where's Snowman when I need him? Now that is some bullshit. That is some bullshit. That relationship started long before they started prosecuting Trump. That is some bullshit.
Because Nathan Wade was being paid a lot of money to work on this case. The testimony was essentially that they split the costs on everything and they did it all by cash. Well, the trial judge here found that there were significant questions about the truthfulness of Fani Willis's testimony. The trial judge said, quote, the odor of mendacity remains around this case. He said there's real questions about whether her testimony was untruthful. That's a quote, untruthful from the trial judge. But nonetheless, the trial judge said, well, we can solve this if Nathan Wade leaves the case. And that's what ended up happening. But clearly, the Court of Appeals has now decided that's not sufficient. They lay substantial blame at the feet of the elected district attorney, Fani Willis. And now, as a result, this case, it's not quite dismissed, but it means that Fani Willis and her office will be disqualified from handling it. And as a practical matter, it now goes into a sort of purgatory for an undefined amount of time. It's not coming back. It's over.
Yeah, and Ellie, I guess that this begs the question, had Fani Willis stepped aside sooner when all of these questions were being raised, when there was all of that?
What I tell everybody about Pond's neighbor?
That is some bullshit, first of all. And where's Bernie Mac when you need him from head of state, where he just got off the train and just slapped the shit out of everybody who got in his way?
Yeah, well, Fani Willis has been disqualified.
And they fucked around until it was too late. They fucked around and found out.
Have you, speaking of which, have you smuggled BGS down there yet? Because Gorilla Grip gonna need him.
BGS has been giving me a hard time about that. You know, he's still mad at me for for shit I didn't do. First of all, I mean, I get misunderstood and wrongfully accused of all kinds of shit. And I'm like, what the fuck did I do?
You say you go drive him down there, man. I'm just asking.
I was gonna drive him, but you know, he's giving me a hard time. He's been complaining about the car and everything. You know, I mean, I have to put him in the trunk first of all.
But
I forgot the man 6'1". But I forgot the man 6'1". So not the trunk. We gotta put him in a van. You know, I gotta ask Mr. T for that old van from the A team. You know, so we can drive in without any problems. That old GMC, remember?
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't want me to play Disco Lady by Johnny Taylor, though. He hates that song. But I'm going to play it anyway, just to annoy him from time to time.
Oh.
He said something about we had to go to Mexico, though.
She made a name for herself, all right. She got on national TV and put on that dress backwards. Oops. Did I say that out loud?
Oh, I don't want it. I know. Somebody give me some chlorine for my eyes. Give me some chlorine for my eyes. I don't want to see that shit.
Covered this. Had she stepped aside sooner, handed this off to somebody else, is it possible that we would not be at this point, that case could still be alive?
There are a lot of things Fani Willis could have done differently, I think, to avoid this ruling. Number one, she could have stepped aside way earlier, as you said. Number two, obviously, I mean, she has acknowledged it was a mistake to have an affair with the lead prosecutor on the case, have a relationship with the lead prosecutor.
No shit.
On this case. And separately, and I'm looking to see if this is in the opinion, I believe it is, because I know it's one of the issues that was briefed to the Georgia Court of Appeals. The DA made statements outside of court that the trial judge found were, quote,
for at least 2 years before they even brought charges against Trump.
So, okay, so she was involved with him for at least 2 years prior to all this. Okay.
And he was married at the time.
What type of attorney was he, first of all? He wasn't a
For the-
criminal case. He wasn't a criminal attorney. He was like something
Yeah,
else,
yeah,
right?
yeah. This is why I say Fani Willis is incompetent. He was a traffic judge.
Wait a minute, he judged traffic violations? He was a judge?
Traffic judge, yes. That is why I call Fani Willis incompetent. You are prosecuting a president of the United States. That's like that's the equivalent of prosecuting 100 mob bosses at one time. And you go
And you
pick
could get the right person for the job. I'm like,
and
what?
you
There were
go
no
pick
prosecutors?
a traffic judge to prosecute this case. That is incompetence.
I just say I got two things to say about that. One, what in the all types of blue hell, as the
Like I
base
said,
man would
where's
say.
Snowman when I did? What in the all types of blue hell?
Secondly, the defense rests, Your Honor.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Now I'm gonna that's enough for CNN. Now let's hear from a lefty. Yes, Butthurt Blue. I listen to lefties too. That's why I give you Butthurt Blues the side eye, because they sound just like we do.
Attention, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Let's make this happen.
Now this is Heartland Media. Shout out to this dude. I'm like BGS. Go give him a like.
I said this was going to happen. Fani Willis, it was up in your face, liberals. I got a lot of pushback. You know, and the internet censorship doesn't help out either.
No, the
but I remember. You know, I said this was going to happen. Fani Willis is disqualified from prosecuting Trump election case. Appeals court rules. This just happened today.
Yep.
Breaking news on Hard Lens Media. So if you guys want to see a CNN meltdown, see, this is why I love my audience. Sometimes you send me private message, be like, hey, Kit, look at this. Look what I found. And to which I have to say, well done, my scout. Well done indeed. I try and keep an eye on for, that's why sometimes when I'm looking like this or this, I'm keeping an eye on my monitors. But when you capture my eye, my eyeball, let's watch a CNN meltdown.
We begin this hour with breaking news just into CNN. The Georgia prosecutor leading the state's election interference case against President-elect Donald Trump is now disqualified. CNN's Caitlin Polance is here with more. Caitlin, what can you tell us about this? This is just coming in the last several minutes. This is a big development.
A big development, and a big development that Donald Trump has wanted for a long time. That case against him in Georgia, the criminal case where it's accusing him and several others of a racketeering conspiracy related to the 2020 election, it's already been paused. Now it's not even backburnered. This is.
I stay. Listen, you know, here's the thing. When I said that Democrats, you better hope that your this DA is squeaky clean, that there will be no problems. You know, so many people said to me, well, not progressives, not libertarians, not even Trumpers. I had
Hey, you got a lot of background noise.
Tell them to meet us there.
And by the way, don't nobody say shit.
It's like you left in a hurry. Maybe tracking the signal.
Gorilla Grip looking for a new job, huh?
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Let's continue.
Liberals say to me, oh, you're a Trump supporter. You're a Trump supporter. No, because I found this entire lawfare against Trump to be one big waste of time. You know, I only can listen. I only can imagine what Trump was. Maybe he didn't care. Like, there's a very good chance he just didn't care because he's been to court so many times. Like, it's like water off a duck's back. I think I'd be ripping my eyeballs out. All the stuff that he was dealing with the elect. Not to mention running for president. But I said, hey, you better hope this all works out, because if Trump walks out, he's coming right back after all of you.
Yes, sir.
I said this. But oh no, hard lens media, you're Trump supporters. No, it's just look.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't just us they were called Trump supporters. They were calling actual lefty Trump supporters too.
At all these lawsuits against it, it wasn't going to add up. It wasn't going to stop him. It wasn't going to change his voters' minds. He profited off the mugshot that boosted his support. You morons! Vote blue no matter who. I'm going to give you my Logan Roy quote. I love you, but you are not serious people.
Bam.
Right there.
Right there. Like what he said.
Y'all not serious people. Now some of the butthurt blues are talking about quote unquote boycotting the inauguration.
Go ahead.
President Trump and my response to that is, okay, why you threaten everybody with a good time? Nobody want to see your sour ass faces.
Well, is anybody? Well, it's not like people are calling for his deletion or some shit like that, are they? I know it's a crime to do that.
Not to my knowledge. Not to anybody I listen to.
I will say this though, as somebody who understands the politics of your country from the outside looking in,
Mm-hmm.
they have 2 years, 18 months to 2 years, or a year and a half to 2 years to turn this shit around. Because if they don't, imagine how the midterms are going to turn out. That's all I'm going to say.
There's no telling. But let's
Exactly.
continue.
Oh, meet me up, please.
Oh,
Thank you.
hold on, wait a minute. Here we
Okay,
go.
I got it.
I got it. All right, let's continue, folks.
Is a case that will be dead in the water because the Georgia Court of Appeals is now saying that Fani Willis, the leader of the prosecution against Donald Trump, the district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia, she should be disqualified from being able to bring that case. The Georgia Court of Appeals is saying that it's a significant appearance of impropriety caused by the conduct of a public prosecutor. That is Willis, how she behaved, how she was speaking about the case, about Trump publicly, about how she was having a relationship with the top prosecutor that was concealed in this, a man named Nathan Wade. All of that, previously, the trial level judge had looked at and said, Fani Willis can stay on this case. We're not dismissing the indictment, but the Court of Appeals is now taking another look and saying, no, the trial judge was wrong. Fani Willis should be disqualified from continuing to lead this case. It would be a long process, or it will be a long process to replace her, which is why I say this case is dead in the water now without Fani Willis, the person who was leading this case against Donald Trump in Fulton County. And just to keep tabs on how many cases there are against Donald Trump criminally, the other two in federal court, January 6th, and classified documents, those are dismissed. And then the additional case.
It all comes crashing down. And I said, hey, there's a possibility, Democrats, all these cases you're getting against Trump are going to poof, be like a fart in the wind and disappear. And they're not going to hold anything. I said this was going to happen. And listen, right now, listen, listen, if your vote blue, no matter who friend is crying right now, just pat them on the back and be like, there, my friend. There.
I told you so.
Because so many people put their eggs in one basket. And remember, it's corporate media that said, oh, the walls are closing in on Trump. The walls are closing in on Trump. And oh, you got a ladder, climbed out. Now,
yeah, the walls are closing in on Trump, all right. He's your 47th president. Congratulations, vote blue no matter who. You played yourselves.
No, AB, you're supposed to say, they did it. They did it.
Oh, name dropped down. Okay. But yeah.
Now he's on the next floor. Oh, the walls are closing in. The walls are closing in. Whoop. Found a rope, climbed out. The walls are closing in. The walls are closing in. Oh, he found a jetpack. Boop, flew out.
Actually, AL, you're right. They did do it. They did it. They did it. They nominated a dementia patient. They nominated an incompetent AKA. And they got Trump reelected. They did it. Y'all, vote blue no matter who did that.
They did it. They did it. They should be proud of themselves.
They did it. They made Donald Trump the person they hate, the 47th president of the United States. You did this, vote blue no matter who. There's no question about that. Y'all did this to yourselves. You have nobody to blame but yourselves. In fact, it's not just us that are saying that, AL. Believe it or not. I played this yesterday.
We begin this hour with breaking news just into CNN.
one
The Georgia
second here.
prosecutor leading the state's election interference case against President-elect Donald Trump is now disqualified.
Give me
CNN's
one
Caitlin
second here.
Polans is here with more. Caitlin, what can you tell us about this? This is just coming in the last several minutes. This is.
We're not the only one that said it. Guess who else said the Democrats fucked up?
Now, my exclusive interview with New York City Mayor Eric Adams. We sat down today at City Hall. He is the first big city mayor to sit down with the incoming border czar, against really the wishes of his own city leaders, saying he will work with the Trump White House to deport migrant criminals from his city. And his message to fellow Democrats to wake up after their sweeping 2024 election losses.
Yep. The mayor of New York City, one of the most liberal cities in the country, told all you vote blue no matter who knuckleheads to wake up. But I guess he's low information too, right?
We had a big election, obviously, in November of 2024. There are a lot of prominent Democrats who are speaking out of what they're referring to as a real wake-up call for your party. Let's watch some of these voices, and then I want to get your reaction, Mayor.
Donald Trump is not an idiot. You know why we know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House.
Totally agree.
Court.
You hear that? That's crying Van Jones admitting that Donald Trump is smarter than all of them. Congratulations, vote blue no matter who. You did it. You proved Donald Trump is smarter than all you motherfuckers combined. You did it. Congratulations.
First of all, it ain't nice to kick and win it down, but who am I to judge? So have at it, fam. I'm just gonna sit right here. You need something for me, by the way? Hey, B, I gotta go to the store. You need to get you something?
No, I'm good.
You sure? Al, what about you?
Oh,
What
actually, I take that back. I'm glad you said go to the store. Speaking of going to the store, the funny part is I actually got some new products to sell today. This episode of Colosseum Special has been brought to you by Sweet Sassy Rollins Butthurt Blue Soda. Butthurt Blue Soda. In other words, like, share, subscribe, hit my Cash App, support the show, hit the Super Chat, support the show. Wait a minute, before I forget, we're having a Christmas sale. You get we're having a Christmas sale. You get 3 cans of Sweet Sassy Rollins Butthurt Blue Soda, 1 tall can of Shut Up Juice, and one huge bottle of Sweet Sassy Rollins Vote Blue Juice. Now with extra sassy blue juice. All for the wonderful price of $0 half off. By the way, you can get all these shitty products by just watching Roland Martin himself. Just saying.
Oh, that's a steal. That's not a deal. That's a steal, folks. So, AB, do you need me to get you a 6-pack of Shut Up Juice and a 6-pack of soda? Sweet Sassy Rolling Soda. You need me to get that as well for you?
Nah, soda's bad for you. Especially Sweet Sassy Rolling Soda.
Oh, yeah. I just found that I had a conversation with a friend with somebody. They just told me that, they got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and shit. So yeah, I had quite a conversation about that. So
yeah, we do.
that
We do have juices. We have tall glass of Shut Up Juice, sold separately.
All right, I'm gonna get you a 6-pack of that. That'll probably help. But yeah,
I was answering Andre in the chat.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we gotta get some. We gotta get some of that for him. We need a 6-pack of that for him. In fact, Andre, get up here. Come on up, man. But as far as Crying Jones, I'm sure he's gonna say, "We need to protect our president. We need to protect this white man. We gotta protect his own peace."
Whatever.
Shut the fuck up.
Popular vote.
Democrats, you lost. You got your butts whipped. Own it. Live with it. Accept it.
I don't even know what the Democratic Party is
Oh, shut up, Solomon, you simp.
at this particular moment. They don't seem to have a real sense of direction at this point.
So Trump won by 11 points in the Bronx and in Queens. He cut in half Biden's lead in New York. What do you say to what these individuals are saying? Do you agree with them?
Wholeheartedly. That we stopped speaking to people. We started speaking at people.
Yep.
I think I like to say it's a cryptocurrency moment. When I first said I was going to invest in cryptocurrency, people laughed at me. Who's laughing now? And when I first.
Ooh, he ain't lying about that. But you got the liberal Mayor Eric Adams saying the exact same shit we've been trying to tell you knucklehead for the last 2 years. Are you going to go call him low information voters? Guess not. Anyway. But I went over this interview yesterday. He was talking about immigration and how the federal government forced him to take them people in 8,000 a week. They were bringing in 16,000 people every 2 weeks for the past 2 or 3 years.
16,000. How much were they getting in federal money for these people? Remember,
that's the scary part, Namer. Nothing. They have a $6 billion deficit hole.
Well, in that case, what was the incentive? Sarcastically speaking. What the hell? First of all, you got a population crisis to deal with.
Yep.
And you're not being honest about it. I remember, what was it, like BJ saw those 2 videos of those senators, those congressmen who had their speeches, even though oftentimes.
Well,
here's
the problem with that, Namer. Yeah, we do have a population crisis, but Joe Biden, the federal government would let them put them to work to pay into the system. During that interview, in fact, let me play some of this interview so you can get a gist of it.
Yeah. First got elected in 2022. I told the party it's public safety. People are tired of the revolving door where people are constantly committing violent crimes and back on our streets. We ignored it. I talked about the affordability issue. I talked about the migrants and asylum seeker issue. I mean, Iowa caucus showed that is one of the top issues. Not hearing the people and you engaging in dialogue while individuals are fearful of affordability, losing their home, the future of their children, and you having these intellectual conversations, and people are like saying, what the hell are you talking about? I'm hurting. And you're asking, is Donald Trump Hitler or not? It's just not talking to the real needs of people.
So you have been strong on those issues. I look back at the things that you were saying over the years. Obviously, you spent decades as a New York City police officer, but when you came into office, you were asked on ABC if you were concerned that being a sanctuary city was going to create a magnet to New York. And here's what you said.
Not at all. This city has always been a sanctuary city, and we've always managed those who wanted to come to New York City to pursue the American dream.
But now, you know, people see Tren de Aragua in Times Square. They see gang members and criminals who are getting arrested and getting released, put back out on the street. $6.6 billion on migrants in New York City. People complain that the city is dirty. What do you say to those who say that your turn on this, and you're sitting down with Tom Homan last week and talking about making us safer New York, came too late?
Well, and this is why this is so important, to be able to not have a bumper sticker understanding of a policy and a person's belief, but engaging in real conversations, which we don't do that much often anymore. Sanctuary city is totally different from a man-made crisis that we saw. This is what sanctuary city states. If you're in this city and
pay very close attention to what he's about to tell you.
You are paying taxes. You buy a loaf of bread, you pay taxes. Those are your tax dollars. You have a right to the services of the city. You have a right to the police officers. You should not be fearful to put your children in school and get health care. That's what a sanctuary city is. What a sanctuary city is not is having an unsecure border and allowing gang members to come in, paroling people into the country when you're telling them you can't work for 6 months or a year, and you have.
You hear what he just said, Damer?
Mm-hmm.
What good are they doing here if they're not going to pay into the system for 6 months? If they're not going to start paying it.
Go ahead. Sorry. Continue with your question.
But did you hear what he? But you hear what he just said? They wouldn't let him. They wouldn't let him work. In other words, they wouldn't let him pay into the system.
Have to be when you're to a border and allowing gang members to come in, paroling people into the country when you're telling them you can't work for 6 months or a year, and you have to be dependent on the local cities to take care of you.
In other words, New York City had to flip the bill for them staying there.
We're saying that as a sanctuary city, if you're here and you are participating legally, you are provided the services as you start your pathway to get citizenship or legal status. That has always been what took place in this city, but it is not a safe haven for those who are committing criminal acts.
That's the question. I'm wondering what the question was.
I'm sorry to interrupt, AB, but there's a reason I have to ask this question, because being on this side of the Atlantic, this whole migrant crisis you guys are dealing with, you know what it reminds me of?
What?
Migrant crisis here in Europe of 2015. We had that mass of humanity, and it was the German, and Germany started just, and the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel, she said, we're going to take in 800,000 with no plan in how to integrate these people whatsoever. It was just done on the fly. It was just done in a way that was completely reckless and irresponsible. It was as if she was trying to do some. You got to question what the hell was going on. What was the backstory? And as far as what Mr. Adams is talking about here, that begs the question. Not just in the city of New York, but the surrounding areas. Hold up.
I mean, kind of off topic.
No, it's not off topic. It's relevant to what I'm saying here. Regarding, ask the same question. How are you going? If you're not going to pay, how are you going to get them to pay into the system if you guys aren't even getting them through the bureaucracy, enable for them to get themselves back on their feet and contribute? You make them like legal dependents. These
Yeah.
people got to eat. But if you're not going to give them the required paperwork in order to, become law-abiding citizens or at least residents and be able to get work visas and all things that are required, and have them sit in their hands because you backlog like a motherfucker, what's the point?
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
What
they're
we
gonna
gonna?
flip out.
Yeah. What are we gonna say, Andre?
Oh, I was gonna say, so like, wasn't New York like the worst place out of all of them in terms of immigration? Like, wasn't that the first place they were talking about people getting these $10,000 debit cards or whatever they were?
I'm not quite sure if it was the first place, but it was one of the places.
Yeah, like, well, that was one of the first places that I heard of. I'm not sure if that's actually the first place or not, but that's one of the first places I've heard of where they were getting like these $10,000 cards, and
But let's continue because he says a lot of.
benefit.
Yeah, let's continue. He says a lot of important stuff here.
Or trying to harm migrants, asylum seekers, and other New Yorkers.
Well, you see what Tren de Aragua is doing in Aurora, Colorado, torturing 15 people, taking over at least a couple of apartment buildings there. What do you say to the people of your city who feel like this is out of control? You've got 11% of the Manhattan hotel rooms are occupied right now by migrants. And a lot of people out there, despite what you say about the situation, think that you let it go too far.
And listen, they were angry. And many of them was angry. Many of them were angry because they didn't understand. They said, Eric, what are you doing? Why are you allowing these buses to come in? Hey, I can't stop them from coming in. That's against federal law. Well, why don't you let them work like all immigrants have done and found their way? Federal government told me, Eric, you can't allow them to work. You know what, Eric? You can't even allow them to volunteer to clean the streets, remove graffiti, and give them a stipend. That's against federal law. And then I have city law that told me there's a right to shelter law. Anyone that comes in the city, anywhere on the globe, can come here and get shelter for as long as they want.
Let me replay it again, in case you didn't hear it.
Like all immigrants have done and found they were angry. And many of them was angry. Many of them were angry because they didn't understand. They said, Eric, what are you doing? Why are you allowing these buses to come in? Hey, I can't stop them from coming in. That's against federal law. Well, why don't you let them work like all immigrants have done and found their way?
Listen very carefully.
Federal government told me, Eric, you can't allow them to work. You know what, Eric? You can't even allow them to volunteer to clean the streets, remove graffiti, and give them a stipend. That's against federal law. And then I have city law that told me there's a right to shelter law. Anyone that comes in the city, anywhere on the globe, can come here and get shelter for as long as they want. I had to go to court and fight that and give a 30 and 60-day notification. That's how we dropped 220,000 that came here to now 50,000 because we said you only going to stay in our shelter for 30 days. And we were fought on that. And so, yes, people were angry. They saw the headlines, look what our mayor is doing, but in reality, the mayor was handcuffed. So what I had to do was make sure my police protected those who were the victims of these crimes and made sure that I had to follow the housing laws that were in place, but while we fought them in court.
So you have butted heads with your city council a lot on the things that you wanted to change.
So AB, you would know this better than me, but just hearing what he just said, he was talking about they can't volunteer and you give them a stipend. Well, I think he said stipend, which I'm not sure if that's something else.
That's the thousands of dollars a month and all that crap.
Mm-hmm. Well, like my understanding of a stipend is basically it's literally getting paid to work. Like what?
It's kind of like a UBI. Is what they were getting. Kind of a basic
universal basic income.
Yes.
Because he said stipend. I never heard stipend. I know about a stipend, but
it's a pronunciation thing, fam.
Yeah. I had to double check, so I'm not sure. But basically, he was saying that they can't volunteer to work and give them a stipend. It's like if they're volunteering to work and you're giving them a stipend, you're employing them with extra steps.
Yeah, that's
to
true,
solve
AJ. They were given debit cards. Excuse me.
Yeah. And on top of that, you have to understand, it's like you said, if they wanted to volunteer, you need to make sure that they're okay. There's got to be some safety and guidelines regarding whatever work they're going to be volunteering in.
Yep.
In case of like emergencies or in case of an accident or whatnot, because they can't exactly. Because they don't technically qualify for workman's comp or workman's compensation, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
So anything they volunteer for, they do that at their own whatchamacallit. But you can't give them some type of compensation.
I think you're actually kind of missing the point on that, because he was talking about they can volunteer. Because it sounded like.
No, he said they couldn't volunteer.
Well, he was saying they could volunteer, but you can't give them.
No, he said
they could.
He misheard. He said they couldn't volunteer to do. They couldn't do volunteer work.
Well,
Simplify, Lewis.
Well, either way, he was saying like they couldn't volunteer and get a stipend, which, I mean, you shouldn't be getting a stipend in the first place if you're volunteering. But
you misheard. You misheard, but we'll move on. Oh crap! I just deleted it. Daggone it.
Oh, you'll be bring it back. Andre, how you doing?
Doing all right. About to go hang out with my kid for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, how is she doing, by the way?
Last day of school tomorrow, so.
Oh,
before the holidays.
For Christmas
break.
break.
Christmas break. Yeah, winter break.
It's already pretty late, but like her mom was out and about or whatever with her, so I don't really want to show up this late, but it is what it is.
Well, as long as you guys can work it out. I mean, regarding handing over, leaving,
Well, I
custody
actually
thing.
I want to go watch Sonic today, but I'll watch it tomorrow.
Hey, take her to watch Sonic, man. Who knows? Maybe she might be into Sonic the Hedgehog after this.
She is a fan of Sonic. We've watched all the other movies. Yeah.
What's her favorite character? Is it Sonic or any other?
Sonic.
No, of course everybody. Nobody likes Tails or Knuckles. I remember the old.
I ain't trying to derail.
Hmm.
No, I'm not trying to derail. So get back to what we're talking about.
Yeah,
no, that's cool. That's cool.
Y'all keep talking. I'm trying to find this again.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. But it is what it is, right?
Well,
I mean, you just work this shit.
In that case, like in terms of Sonic.
No, before we continue, let's have a cooking break.
Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya.
AB, could you actually send me that link? Because I'm actually.
All you got to do is type in her name, Cooking with Kaya.
Well, all the links that I find, they all have like people commenting on it, and it's like it makes
reaction videos.
Go to TikTok and type in her name.
I don't have TikTok.
Okay, are you on your phone or you're on a web browser?
I'm on my phone, but I don't have TikTok.
Okay, if you have enough room, download the TikTok app and just type in Kaya. It's only 3 words. KYA.
She's solely on.
I heard that she got banned on TikTok.
Her channel's still up.
Wait, is she exclusively on TikTok, or is she also on Instagram?
She's on Instagram too.
She's got a YouTube channel as well, but like it's not as popping as it was on TikTok. Apparently, she got banned on TikTok, but I heard that she actually has a cooking show now on VH1. Is that true, maybe?
Yeah, from what I heard, she does have a VH1 show now.
Ooh.
And apparently, so does Shira 7. Sprinkle.
Sprinkle. Hey, that reminds me. AB Media is proudly sponsored by Soft Guy Essential Oils. The manliest musk scented oils for any soft guy.
And once again,
Forget the sprinkle. You're certified drizzle. Drizzle, baby.
Yeah, and don't forget we're having a Sweet Sassy Rollins Christmas sale. 3 cans of Sweet Sassy Rollins Butthurt Blue Soda, 1 tall can of Shut Up Juice, and 1 tall bottle of Sweet Sassy Rollins Vote Blue Sauce. Now with extra sassy blue juice. Like, share, subscribe.
Andre,
Hit my Cash App, support the show. Hit the super chat and support the show.
Yeah. Speaking of ads, I think I want to send you an ad, AB, but I'm not sure if it'd be safe considering the content. It's a picture of the Grinch holding the cashew nuts.
Oh, I gotta do something for Grinch too. No, never mind.
Now I'm talking about the Dr. Seuss character, but yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss character.
Yeah, Ray, yes.
For those of you who are those of you just coming in, we're mostly talking about Fani Willis today because she was disqualified from the Trump case.
Oh yeah. Oh, Gorilla Grip.
What did I tell y'all about pawns? They always go first.
What was the reason why she got disqualified?
Because she's incompetent, pretty much.
I get that, but what was that like the official reason why what they said?
The entire case was a hot mess. She was sleeping with the prosecutor, and the appeals court said you're off the case.
So like conflict of interest, maybe?
Yes.
Yes. Conflict of interest, utter incompetence, conduct unbecoming of a prosecutor.
Well, aside from Trump, she was also the prosecutor in the Young Thug case, and somehow he got out. So she fucked up on that as well.
Oh, that's right. She was the prosecutor on the Young Thug case.
She was.
Shit.
What's wrong?
No. I'm just thinking that when you guys said that she was the prosecutor for the Young Thug case, I'm like, shit.
Yeah, she was. Look it up. She was the prosecutor.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. I meant to say, what in the all types of blue hell?
Yep.
So does that mean like the case for Trump is going to get dropped, or
more than likely it hasn't been dropped yet? Georgia has to find another prosecutor to prosecute the case. Good luck.
Yeah, because it mostly seemed like she was the main one that was trying to push that, like kind of like like one of those like career making cases or whatever.
High profile cases.
Yeah, that's what she was on.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to make a name for herself.
Mm-hmm. But again, even if they find another prosecutor, they're gonna have to wait until till he's out of office to prosecute him.
Yeah, they're gonna have to wait till 2028. Probably after January 2028.
Unless something happens and he's forced to step down. You never know.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in the next 4 years. So
unfortunately.
In the next 2 years. I mean, he could kick the bucket because let's not forget that the man did contract COVID during the last election run.
Okay, let's change topics. We don't need to talk about that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry about that.
What other news? Have you heard about our Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson?
What you do now?
Are y'all sitting down?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me put down my drink. Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely put down your drink. Hold on, I gotta find it first. But to make a long story short,
Mm-hmm.
she was in a Broadway play.
So
Give me a second. I gotta find it. Let's see.
a Broadway production.
Yeah, she was in a Broadway play. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you just have to see it for yourself. So let me share my screen.
Apparently, Washington, D.C. has become the Make-A-Wish Foundation for grown adults. The Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, she just made her Broadway debut, and it's the most cringeworthy thing I've seen in a long time.
Female empowerment.
Yes, that's her.
Sick. I like it too. I think what I like about it is that I am having a very strongly negative reaction to it. Like I hate it.
That's a Supreme
Okay.
Court justice.
What's the deal here?
Ma'am, do you not have better things to do? Do you not have work to do for the American people? You are a Supreme Court justice. I guess everybody gets a participation trophy now. Kamala Harris, you want to run for president for 107 days? Go ahead. Hunter Biden, you want a pardon? Here it is. Now, the musical is called Anne Juliet, and according to my sources, it's a queer reimagining of Romeo and Juliet, in which Juliet runs away to Paris with a non-binary character and ends up in a love triangle. That sounds like the most woke pile of garbage I've ever heard. Now,
Is this cat same-sex loving? First of all,
What the commentator?
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I'm just like sometimes you never know, nowadays. But I'm not just being discriminatory.
He's accurate though.
Yeah, he's very accurate, and I'm thinking, okay, she did a music. She was in a Broadway production. Good for her. I'm thinking, if she had time off, or if she had time between, if she's still,
Yeah, but
fulfilling her.
here's part of the problem, Namer. You gotta also remember this is the same person that doesn't know what a woman is.
But
Wait, what?
also, she doesn't know what a woman is. But also to add on to that, like, just it's not just that she was in a Broadway play or production or whatever, but it's like what that clip that you just played. Like, why did she have to be talking about female empowerment? And she was saying it in a very sarcastic way for some reason.
Yeah, actually, Andre brings up a good point. If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do a Shakespeare like play, why are you bringing up female empowerment?
What was the point?
And by the way, quiet as kept. The first rendition of Romeo and Juliet was more than likely didn't have any women in it.
Really?
Yeah, back during them times, they didn't allow women to be a part of plays.
They were not allowed to do a lot of things at that time. This is the
What's going
16th
on,
century.
Charles? We're talking about how Fani Willis got disqualified from the Trump case.
Well, I mean, if she can't prosecute Young Thug, like, how's she gonna prosecute Trump?
Well, as I said before, Andre, she's incompetent.
Yeah.
Like, The nigga's a rapper. He literally snitches on himself all the time. If you can't prosecute him, how you gonna prosecute Trump?
That's what happens when you're incompetent. I mean, as I said at the beginning of the show, you are prosecuting a president of the United States. That is the equivalent of 100 president-elect now. You're prosecuting a former president of the United States. And your bright idea, that's the equivalent of prosecuting 100 mob bosses at one time. And your bright idea to prosecute this case is to go get a traffic judge.
As the lead prosecutor of the team, the prosecution team.
Yes. And pay him extra money. And sleep with him while he's still married.
Yeah.
And you thought that was a good idea? You thought that didn't have a conflict of interest?
Black gynocracy is unwinnable yet again.
What is that Mr. Z said? Shout out to Mr. Z. The internet will expose us all.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, okay.
And the appeals court in Georgia said that this is some bullshit, and Fani Willis is disqualified.
So that doesn't mean she's gonna be disbarred, though, right?
No, there's no talk of her getting disbarred yet.
So AB, like we were talking about yesterday and also today, about like this Eric Adams dude.
Yeah.
Because I've only heard about him just because of like didn't he get charged or was being investigated for corruption or some shit like that?
Yeah, but what else is new?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Mayor of New York and all, so.
In fact, I think one of the reasons why he sided with Trump is pretty much a fuck you to the Democrats.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting about like him. Like apart from the fact that he's a black man, like what's so interesting about him is that like he's a Democrat, but he's acting awfully Republican after he got investigated or got charged.
He's also former NYPD.
Yes.
So he knows who's got his back.
Yep.
People forget this man was a former police officer. I think was he police chief at one time?
I really don't know his record like that, so I couldn't tell you.
Let me look it up. I'm looking it up.
Well, it's not about his record. It's just the fact that he was a Democrat like prior to this. But since all of this stuff happened, he seemed to be changing his stance on stuff, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Since Trump got elected, he's been
he's flip-flopping. He's flip-flopping basically.
Like any politician.
Oh
shit! This motherfucker stays. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking him up. Okay, it says here. He was.
Luke, Mr. Donnie Mack.
Hey, Mr. Donnie
Let's
Mack.
hear what Judge Joe Brown has to say about the situation.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
A lack of sophistication.
I won't say he's doing. I'm sure.
Weird.
All right.
Hey, Judge.
I listened to that. That's on point, but it's kind of simplistic, and it shows, what shall I say, somewhat a lack of sophistication in federal and criminal prosecutions. See, Fani Willis has just started her list of problems that are about to be dumped on her shoulders. Remember, I have said over and over and over the last few years about this thing called the appearance of impropriety.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they were talking about. The next
Mhm.
thing is Mirshan, who's an idiot, is about to get caught up
You talking about the judge?
in this. Bragg's going to get caught up in it. Letitia James is going to get caught up in it.
What did I tell you about ponds? They always go first.
Fani Willis is going to get caught up in it. Smith, the federal prosecutor who wasn't properly appointed, is going to get caught up in it, and it's a federal conspiracy charge.
More like a federal clusterfuck, but yeah.
Now, for those who are listening the first time, a federal conspiracy, a felonious conspiracy, can arise when people agree to achieve something that is illegal, even if they do it in a legal fashion, in a legal way. Wade has gotten up and testified in front of a congressional committee. He's attempting, apparently, to get testimonial immunity, which is anything he testifies to can't be used in future criminal prosecutions against him, even if he gets indicted. But he's singing like the proverbial bird because he doesn't want to get caught up in this. So what
can you blame him?
What they're doing is they're gathering evidence that a conspiracy occurred amongst those people who did what? They met up in the White House to plot how to get Trump. Met to plot. And that is a conspiracy, even if they submitted the case to a grand jury, which that's why they're not dropping it, because a grand jury is an independent entity under American law, and they indicted the parties down in Georgia. But that doesn't mean that a future DA is not going to take a look at this and say, hey, this is not RICO crime. I'm not going to get involved in setting up a precedent to say that if you disagree with a political party, you can go against them as though they were organized crime figures. And you see, RICO requires that requires that a person or an entity make or achieve or acquire most of its income from what is substantially criminal activity. There was no question about income or anything like this. This was just political manipulation and maneuvering. And to say that if somebody said, find me some votes, that requires such a precise use of language, even if you took it at the worst, that you could construe that is just totally out of line with American law and would set forth a horrible precedent. As they observed, any dumb bozo in some back county of the United States could decide to go after a president, vice president, U.S. Supreme Court justice, member of Congress, or the House or the Senate, or any federal official if they didn't like what they did. Now, Fani Willis is facing a conspiracy charge. She's got problems that are going to get her in some much hotter water about refusing to comply with the subpoena demands from the state legislative body. The Georgia Supreme Court has on prior.
Yeah, well, congratulations. Y'all know what it's like to deal with a gynocrat.
Ruling occasions decide it has the authority to inquire into the expenditure of monies that they have appropriated. And we've got $10 million that's missing. $500,000 for juvenile matters, $7.5 million to catch up on delinquent prosecutions, people that have been in jail who have not been indicted within 45 days as per Georgia law, and $2 million for sex crime prosecution. So that's $10 million she can't account for. And they're demanding that this be shown. As you and I have discussed, it looks like what Fani is doing would be allegedly money laundering for a number of things. That would be all of these cash transactions. We have an IRS problem. We have another problem here, which is making a knowingly false statement to a federal agent or agency, in this case, IRS. She had a demand against her to pay $8,500 in back due taxes. She apparently, according to her testimony, claimed she didn't have it, but then according to her testimony, at the same time, under oath, she testified she's got $15,000 in the cookie jar in her house. So obviously that's making a knowingly false statement to a federal agency. And interestingly enough, it wasn't just an interrogation. It wasn't just hearsay. She got on the stand and testified under oath, so it is evidence and usable.
Right.
The problem that she's going to have will be dovetailed in with what we have is a horrible conspiracy. That is, there are these people who are diehard, poor losers, and at all costs,
That's why I call him Butthurt Blue.
they were going to get Donald Trump and destroy him. Well, they made a mistake when they got together and they had meetings to carry this out or plan this out. That is a conspiracy. The meetings were in the White House. Kamala Harris was involved in them, and Joe Biden was involved in them. And Biden might have immunity, but Harris would not, and it becomes essentially a federal agent or federal officer or office holder who is engaged in a felonious conspiracy to, in this case, destroy a political rival. That is such an anathema.
By the way, I got 22 watching. Like, share, subscribe. Hit my Cash App. Support the show. Hit the super chat. Support the show. Support your interests. Are you not informed? Are you not entertained? Listen to what the judge tell you. Fani Willis is some deep shit.
To the American system that it practically shrieks to be made an example of. And I see you got a new cowboy hair. Anyway,
The one from last week, yeah, but I think
the other one was black, wasn't it?
yeah, the other one was black. Yeah. That's right.
Okay, now, this is very bad. Remember the discussions I have had about Nazism and fascism?
Yes.
Nazi is the German acronym for Socialist Workers, National Socialist Workers Party, Socialist Workers. And people sometimes get confused and associate fascism and Nazism with the far right. But in its essence, fascism and socialism are creations of the left side socialist liberal cabal that was operating in the first part of the 20th century, which seems to be revitalized, resurrected, if you would. And that's what the Democratic Party has been exhibiting. They want to repress the First Amendment. Harris, when she was running, along with that clown Waltz, both said that the First Amendment needed to be repealed or modified so that things like misinformation could be countered and suppressed, which is supposed to endanger democracy if you don't, which is crazy. They want to get rid of the Second Amendment, which is the guarantee that the people will always be equal to their government as a collective entity. The Third Amendment doesn't apply because there's never been a case in the history of the United States involving the violation of the Third Amendment. The Fourth Amendment on search and seizure, Harris on several occasions during the campaign said that essentially, probable cause be damned. They were going to come in people's houses and see what they were up to.
Mm-hmm.
And the Fifth Amendment, the right to be free from self-incrimination and due process of law as it applies to the federal government, they wanted to trample on that. The Sixth Amendment dealing with appeals and such like that, and application of the law, they wanted to get around that. So they essentially wanted to abolish or severely constrain the Bill of Rights. And that's precisely what you would see with someone who is attempting to implement fascism. Now, some call it communism, but there is a difference, because communism, although it uses some of the same methods, has a different purpose. Communism was viewed as a correction for the evils of capitalism. And when those evils were ended, then communism would stop having a purpose. That's inherent in what Marx and Engels came up with, what Lenin came up with. And even Lenin, the founder of Soviet communism, said that Russia would no longer be communist after 1990 because it wouldn't need it. And he used the specific words glasnost and perestroika. And what did we have? Gorbachev in 1990 said the Soviet Union will be into the era of glasnost and perestroika, just as.
Okay, that's enough of that. If y'all want to go watch that, give me 1 second here. If y'all want to go watch Judge Joe Brown, because it's an hour and 20 some odd minutes, it's an hour and 28 some odd minutes long. Yeah, if y'all want to go watch it, here's the link right here. But believe it or not, I've been on for over an hour, and I'm about to shut this down.
Well, in that case, AB, you might as well have a pleasant evening and good night rest. You deserve it, young man.
Oh, once again, we're having a Sweet Sassy Rollins sale going on. You get 3 cans of Sweet Sassy Rollins Butthurt Blue soda, one tall can of Shut Up juice, and 1 big bottle of Sweet Sassy Rollins Vote Blue sauce for the low price of $0, half off, because it ain't worth shit. But anyway,
big clearance sale on New Year's Day.
Yeah. But anyway, I'd like to thank everybody that came through. This is AB Media 83. I'm out. Peace. Yo, this is AB Media 83. Want to support the channel? Hit the Cash App. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the video. Also, be sure to hit that bell notification so you can be notified next time I upload a live stream or video. And always remember, keep it grinding, keep it pushing, keep it moving. This is AB Media 83, and I'm out. Peace.